Hello, everyone. We want to welcome you to our webinar today. We're excited to have Fawaz Hussein with us from Nodus, and he is going to be presenting on Improve Your Collections with AR Automation. And before I pass it over to Fawaz to cover on this topic, I just want to remind you that we are recording this session and it will be available in our on-demand webinar library for you to review and share with anyone. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to type those into the questions box and we will get them answered during our Q&A time at the end of our session. So now I'll pass it on over to Fawaz to kick off our presentation.
Thank you so much, Angie, and hello everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Fawaz Hussein. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Nodus Technologies. Nodus is a division of Evo Payments, and we specialize in e-commerce and electronic payment applications that integrate with Microsoft Dynamics line of solutions. For today's presentation, we will be focusing on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Our topic of our discussion today, we're going to be looking into improving your collections with AR automation. We will talk a little bit about payment security. And essentially at the end of the presentation, my goal is to help you understand what are some of the challenges that companies face when it comes to AR, accounts receivables and collections, and how do you streamline those, and how do you make your AR processes more efficient if you're using Dynamics 365 Business Central. So the agenda today is we're going to start off with identifying what are some of the inefficiencies in accounts receivables. We'll look at a typical accounts receivable process, the cycle of accounts receivable, what it looks like from a high level. And then we're going to do a deep dive into our solution. What is the Nodus advantage? What do we bring to the table for you as a Business Central user? So what options, we're going to show you what options you have to protect yourself from any potential data breach, and at the same time to improve and make your processes and your accounts receivable processes more efficient. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to look into a demo of the solution as well. I'm going to show you a working demo of Business Central and how our application interacts with Business Central. So to talk about accounts receivables, let's identify some of the pain points. These are some of the pain points that businesses face or accounting departments face. These are some of the challenges that they come across when it comes to collecting payments. Accounts receivable is a hard line for any business. The executive team, especially like the CFOs or chief executives, they very closely monitor your account receivables and its performance. For those of you who deal with AR teams, there's a KPI that is used called DSO, Days Sales Outstanding. Basically, it's an indicator that shows how long has it been since your customers have not paid, or like how long has their invoices have been outstanding. So naturally, the bigger the DSO, the more alarming it gets. So we will talk about all of that later, but most importantly, let's start off with what are some of the pain points and some of the challenges accounting teams face. So number one, biggest challenge is lack of integration. If your payment system is not integrated with your accounting system, then you have this, what we call an integration gap. You are using multiple systems and which essentially can lead into a lot of challenges. In a typical world, what happens is you go to a terminal let's say if you're taking a payment, you will go to a credit card terminal. It could be a physical terminal on your desk, or it could be a website, like a virtual website, virtual terminal, where you log in to process payments. So that's one system. And then you come back to your accounting system to update all those payments that you have already made and offset those balances so the customer records are properly updated. So all of that is jumping from one system to another system. And let's say even receivables is not just for credit cards, even for checks. So if you're still receiving checks in mail, so somebody has to check that and then take those checks to the bank to deposit, and then come back and then do all the manual entry back into the accounting system. And a lot of you will come across or say that, well, we do take checks, but it's all direct deposit, which is fine, but then still you have to go back to your accounting system and manually enter everything. So whenever there is no integration, if your payment system is disconnected with your accounting system, that's where this integration gap happens, and which not only um, increases the chances of human error significantly, but also it prevents you from having any type of real-time reporting, because unless and until the data is entered into your accounting system, you would never know that if the customer has made payment or not. So, but all of that leads into manual labor, because we talked about dealing with two different systems that's not integrated. Then that takes a lot of time from your staff to accounting folks to process payments or take the checks to the bank, or reconciling payments, or most importantly, manually entering those payments into your Business Central. So that can prone to be like, not just like we talked about, like typos or any a human error, but then also it's a very tedious, time-consuming task that your resources can, use that time somewhere else in a more efficient and pressing manner. So manual labor is another pain point that is associated when it comes to accounts receivables. Now, whenever you do things manually, and if you are relying on a human intervention or human interaction to enter payments or enter data, then that also leads into the third pain point, which is very important, and that is security. If you are if your process is to allow your users or your internal staff to take payments over the phone or on mail or email, for that matter, that's all exposing you to great security threats. One of the most important thing is that a lot of businesses don't realize is that when it comes to PCI compliance, and which I will talk about in a second, but when it comes to securing your customers' credit card data or payment data, your customers' payment data, it is 100% your responsibility. If you take payments from your customers, then it's your responsibility to make sure that that data is secured. If that data gets lost, then you can be held liable for that. So that's why security security has a very strong play when it comes to accounts receivables. These three pain points that we just talked about, lack of integration, manual labor, lack of security, these are all concerning with you and your internal team. But then there is an external factor which is equally important, or if not more, and that is customers' convenience. If you don't allow your customers to provide them a convenient method to pay, the chances are you're not going to receive payments on time. The chances are that DSO that we talked about, days sales outstanding, that indicator will increase, which means that you will have larger amount of time when the invoices are outstanding and you have not received any payment on them. So delayed payments, customer frustration, all of that ties into customer convenience. As businesses, for all of us, for anyone listening or watching this presentation, if we're part of a business organization, our number one priority is a happy customer. And you can probably relate to this. Imagine if you are working with a vendor. It could be your cell phone provider, it could be utility provider, or someone that you work with. If they don't allow you to make payments securely and in your convenience, the chances are that you will probably be frustrated. You'll have a frustrating experience, because now you expect someone to call you during their business hours, your business hours, just so the customers can make payments. So again, that's a very important factor that we have to, all of us should consider when we talk about improving processes. Because if you improve your internal processes, but then they don't result into making it things for you easier, then there's something wrong. For many businesses, we talk about how do we improve efficiency within the organization, but we don't really as often talk about, okay, well, with all our improvement, our convenience, how much are we making our customers' life easier? So customer convenience comes into a very, very, very strong play. So these are the 4 pain points that a typical accounting team, accounting departments, or organization perhaps face when it comes to receivables, when it comes to collecting payments from their customers. And we will address all of these, and we will show you what can you do, what options do you have available. Before I talk more about accounts receivable, I do want to take a very quick minute to talk about PCI compliance. Although this conversation is not geared towards security or compliance, we do separate webinars and talks just about PCI compliance alone. Because it's a really big topic, but I do want to touch on a high level of what is PCI compliance and who does it apply to. So number one, PCI. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry. PCI Council, Security Council, is a governing body that protects cardholders. So anyone who owns a credit card, you, me, anyone who has a credit card in their wallet, if you own a credit card, PCI Security Council is out there to protect us. And how does it do that? It does that by making sure that any business, any merchant that does take credit card payments from customer, they do it in a secure in a secure manner and in a secure method. So what they do is they put a set of rules and regulations for businesses to make sure that you follow these procedures, you follow these security protocols in order to protect your customers' credit card data. One of the easiest example, the way to understand this is something that I use in a lot of my presentations is, think of this as a Department of Motor Vehicles, right? When you're driving outside, when you drive your car, there are street signs, there's speed limits, there's turn signals, there's all these side of red lights, all these rules posted on the board. The idea is that as a driver, as long as you're following all these regulations, you're eliminating the chances of getting into an accident. And in this case, this is the exact same concept here. So in this case, an accident is a data breach. So the idea is that as long as you as a business follow all the rules and regulations set forth by PCI Security Council, you are eliminating or reducing, at least if not eliminating, reducing the chances of getting into an accident or data breach. So now this applies to everyone. It doesn't, so there's a big misconception out there that, hey, I'm a small business, PCI doesn't apply to me. That's not true. PCI compliance applies to every business. As long as you take credit card payments, then PCI applies to you. Now, it is different requirements. If you are running a coffee shop in a mall, then your requirements is different than, let's say, if you're running a business and taking payments online. So there are different requirements. It's not one size fit all type of deal. It's tailored to every business, but it is still your responsibility. Now, at the same time, it is also our responsibility as a software developer. So PCI Security Council not only have regulations for businesses on how they take payment, but they also have regulations for software companies that develop payment solutions. So even for Nodus, we have very strict requirements by PCI Council to make sure that we follow them when we develop our application. So when we write any software, when we write any application, we have to make sure that our applications are PCI compliant they meet all their requirements. So once they get certified by PCI Security Council, that's when essentially when we release our application. So this is something very important. And as a company, Nodus, we work very, very closely with PCI Security Council to make sure that not only we are always up to date, but also our applications are always certified to the highest level. And at the same time, we make sure that our partners and our clients are always up to date with what's happening in PCI compliance. So the application that I'm going to talk about today is called PayFabric for Business Central. It is level 1 PCI certified, which is one of the highest level of PCI compliance. So we're going to be looking into that. So I just wanted to take a quick minute about PCI compliance, and I hope this was useful. So now we're going to go back into accounts receivables. What we have done over here is we have created an overview of what a typical accounts receivable process looks like. This is just on a high level. Some of you who are watching this, who are listening to this presentation can relate to some of this. Some of you might say that, hey, mine is way more complicated, this, understandable. We have tried to just make it simplify in a very high level overview of what a typical AR process looks like. So step 1 is you create an invoice for the customer, and then you post it to the customer's account, right? That in accounting terms, that basically means that invoice is now ready and the customer has an outstanding balance. After that, you have to notify the customer, letting them know that, hey, there's an invoice now and you're ready to pay. So that that notification can go in an email or a mail, and then you have to deliver that invoice, right? So sometimes people still actually use paper mails to deliver invoices, but then it can also be emailed to the customer as well. After that, it is very common for businesses to have a process where they send reminders. They keep track of all their outstanding invoices, and then they send reminders to the customers. Hey, you still owe me. It's a friendly reminder, things like that. So you're going to send reminders to customers. And then what happens is once the customer is finally ready to make a payment, they will process that payment. They will either, we talked about it earlier, if you're using a disconnected system, then you will either go to a third-party virtual terminal to process it, or if it's a check, you're going to take that check to the bank and deposit it. Once that payment is successfully processed, you will send them a confirmation receipt letting them know that, hey, we processed your payment. That, believe it or not, is also a very tedious process. We did a survey and we found out that how tedious this process can be if you have to send, confirmation receipts every time after you process payment. And also keep in mind, if your payment is declined, then all of this process starts all over again. Then you have to go back to the customer, get a new payment information, and then reattempt to process payment. But once the payment is successfully processed, then you will go back to your accounting system and you will apply that payment to that invoice. Basically, what this means is that now your accounting system is up to date, your data is accurate, and the balance has been offset on the customer's account. So the customer doesn't see, or it's not an outstanding for the customer anymore. So this is what I just showed you, is what a typical AR process looks like. Now, what we have done is we have taken everything that I just grayed out and we have automated this entire process. All of this is now handled by our PayFabric solution that I'm going to show you. So PayFabric for Business Central essentially will not only allow you to process payments on your own, but also it delivers invoices to the customer, it sends automatic reminders, it sends receipts once the payment is processed, and then it automatically applies those payments to the customer's account in Business Central. So we're going to look into all of that. So with that, I'm going to show you that there are two components of this solution for Business Central. And with this, you will see that what options you have as a Business Central user to streamline and to secure your payment processes. So the first portion that I'm going to show you is inside of Business Central, which essentially allows you to process payments directly within Business Central. As a Business Central user, you can process checks or credit cards. And the second that I'm going to show you is our receivable automation tool. Is called PayFabric Receivables. And basically what it is a customer-facing payment portal, which allows you to automate that whole process that we talked about. So it basically delivers the customer invoice to the customer. It delivers the invoice to the customer. It allows customers to go online to view their balances, make payments, and all of that gets updated back into Business Central. So this is basically a customer portal for Business Central. It reads all the data directly from Business Central, and as the customer makes payment, it applies back into Business Central. So we're going to be looking into both of this today. Just before I start the demonstration, just to let you know that this is, obviously we talked about that this is PCI certified application, but this is also certified by Microsoft. This is available on the Microsoft App Store. This is something extremely important because this essentially means that this is built for Microsoft, has been tested, and it essentially becomes a native application then. So this doesn't require any custom type of development or anything. This is built specifically for Microsoft and has been approved by Microsoft. So you can go to the App Store, microsoftappstores.com, and then you can view our application, even download it for there if you want to try it out. So let's look into that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to essentially show you from the Business Central side how the application works, and then I'm going to show you on the customer side as well. So inside of Business Central, if I log in, what you're looking at right now is me logging into my Business Central. We have created a payment processing system inside of Business Central, and it's called PayFabric. So if you just go to type PayFabric, you will essentially see all the PayFabric options over here. But what PayFabric does, it allows you to process payments within Business Central, this portion right here. You can process on invoices, orders, cash receipt, like wherever you want, all the receivables areas, right? So let's do a very simple invoice for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new invoice, and let's pretend that we're creating an invoice. This is all Business Central process, which you are already familiar with. When you create an invoice in Business Central, I'm going to select an item, enter the quantity. All right. So I have my invoice ready here in Business Central. So my invoice total is right here, $404.88. If I want to process a payment in Business Central, there is an option called Payment Method Code. Payment Method Code, if you hover over it, Microsoft will tell you that it specifies how to make a payment, such as bank transfers, cash or checks, and obviously credit card. So if I select down, we have added a credit card method over here. So if you scroll down, there's an option that says PayFabric credit card, which will allow you to, oh, by the way, we do process checks and credit cards. I use credit card as a method of payment, but if I go back to this menu, there's an eCheck as well, PayFabric eCheck. And what eCheck does is that then you can just enter account number, routing number, and process check electronically. So it'll do like direct deposit in your bank account. So you can do credit cards as well as eCheck. So in this example, I'm going to use a credit card. And then if you scroll down, there's this portion over here as part of this invoice is called PayFabric. So this is our portion right here is part of Business Central. If I want, I can use a brand new credit card by selecting this option. Then it will pop up a screen when I'm ready to process where I can enter a new credit card number. Or I can see what credit card does this person already have on file. I can use that. So this person has apparently 2 credit cards, 1 and 2. Now for security reasons, obviously we will not allow you to see the full credit card number. There's no reason to see the full credit card number. you can just look at Visa and last 4 digits and the expiration date to recognize it. So this way you know what it is. And again, this is PCI compliant, so extremely secure and sitting up on our, on a private PayFabric cloud. So none of this is Business Central. And then I can go ahead and once I have my credit card information ready, I can just go ahead and process payments. So if I go up here where it says PayFabric, here I will essentially view these options. These are a few options that different type of transaction types that comes in. You can do pre-authorizations, like if you're doing an order. If you do an authorization, you can do a capture on it. You can do reversal, like credit or voids. But then you can also process sale transactions. So in this example, I'm going to process sale. So it will process this payment for me in real time, and it will tell me immediately if this payment went through or not. Now, it's a real-time process, so it tells you immediately that if the payment went through or not. And in this case, the payment went through, so I got an approval message. If this payment was declined, then I would have gotten a decline message, and the process would have stopped right here. Now, we automatically we automatically send confirmation in the backend, and this is the confirmation that came in. Again, it's a template. You can write whatever you want to write. You can reshape this, redesign this however you want to. But this is just to show you that every time a payment is processed, the system has a capability of automatically sending email confirmation to the customer. So this is the payment that I just processed, and that's the confirmation I got. So as simple as that, I was able to successfully process payment directly inside of Business Central. Now, I'm gonna process one more time, and this time, just for the sake of example, let's do it from an order level. And I wanna use a new credit card because I wanna highlight a little bit more on the security side. So if I'm processing a payment, so let's create an order now. So I'm gonna select a customer, doesn't matter, I can click anyone. And then after that, I'm gonna select an item, put a quantity. Okay, so I have this item right here. So let's say I wanna enter the credit card number for the first time use. I'm gonna use payment method code. I'm gonna select credit card as a method of payment. I can do credit card or eCheck. So let me just do credit card one more time. And in this case, let me just do new credit card. So if I do a brand new credit card, and if I go to PayFabric, and if I do sale, what this will do is it will open up a window where I can enter the credit card information. Now, this window that just opened up right now, this is not part of Business Central. This is something important because what we have done is we have created a method, a secure method, where this essentially it's an iframe coming directly from our cloud, PayFabric. So what that means is that when you type in the credit card number for the first time use, it's not touching Business Central at all. This is important because if you're going through PCI compliance audit, obviously one of the biggest questions you're going to come across is that, hey, the application that you're using is certified. And in this case, yes, the application is certified, it's listed on Visa's website. At the same time, they will ask you that, okay, well, then the question comes in that, are you exposing the credit card data? Is your accounting system touching it? In this case, your accounting system is not touching the credit card data at all. Secondly, we have, because security is super important to us, we have also added method to do, we support point-to-point encryption terminals. Point-to-point encryption terminal is a secure keypad that you can attach to your computer. So this way, you don't have to type in the credit card number on your keyboard. You essentially type it in a secure keypad. It's like a really secure keypad on the side, and it will do a point-to-point encryption. So it will encrypt as you're typing it in, and it will take the data directly to the PayFabric Cloud. So this way, you won't even have to type in using your keyboard. Plus, there's another method that we are recently going to launch, and I'm going to talk about more details, in which I can send you a link to collect payment from you. So I can send you a text message on your phone, or I can send you a hyperlink in an email. So this way, you as a customer can enter the payment yourself, and it will be integrated back into Business Central. So that's essentially something that I'm going to talk about later. But again, just wanted to touch some of the things, because as I did mention that security is something extremely important for us, and then we make sure that our applications are super secured. In terms of payments, we do support many different type of payment methods I did mention. So if you are in an environment where you want to take an order and if you want to do an authorization on it, so this way, once that order has been fulfilled and transferred to an invoice or ready to be shipped, then you can capture the payment based on that pre-authorization. All of that is possible. Plus, it has an open API where you can connect any e-commerce system as well. We do have some built-in e-commerce connections in a Business Central part, as well as some other e-commerce providers. So the point is that, let's say if you're using an e-commerce solution where you take an order, and if you want to bring that order with an authorization over to Business Central, that is also possible. At the same time, you can also create, you can run payments from directly from cash receipt journal as well. So if you want to process payment directly from here, that is possible. So this is essentially a payment. Let's say, for example, if you want to take a payment on account, a payment that is not tied to an invoice, you can do that. So just to kind of quickly show you what that looks like, I will select payment for a customer. Again, I'm just doing this to show you as an example. So I just created this cash receipt payment line of $10. And all I have to do is, now I have this PayFabric option up here as well. By the way, I can do refunds as well as credit card. So right now I'm doing a charge, not a refund, but I can do that as well. And then it shows you the same screen where I can enter the, I have the amount already. I can verify that. I can update the amount if I want to. I can select check or credit card, and then it will essentially process the, if I hit OK, it will process the payment. So this will essentially now is showing you that I'm processing this payment directly from the cash receipt window, not necessarily on an invoice level or an order level. So this essentially makes this Business Central PayFabric application for Business Central extremely robust, because it can fit in any type of sales cycle, no matter how you process payments, at what stage or phase of your sales cycle you process that payment. You can utilize this application to do that. Okay, now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about the customer-facing site. So this, what you're looking at right now, is a fully cloud-based customer portal for Business Central. This is an officially, like, we have designed this for Business Central, and what this does, it basically brings all the AR-related data from Business Central over to the portal. So things like your payments, your outstanding invoices, and all of that. So I'm going to log in as a customer. So I'm one of your customers. And by the way, obviously you can put your own logo and things, so please ignore that. But here, when I log in as a customer, it will take me to a view where I can see a list of my outstanding invoices. On the left top corner right here, I can see my past due balance of $4,390.63. That's also my outstanding. So I can see all these invoices. If I want, I can drill down into any of this invoice to see the details of this invoice. All of this data is being pulled directly from Business Central. So the idea is this: once you create an invoice in Business Central, and the moment that invoice is posted, immediately that invoice is available over here. And at the same time, we send our application sends a notification to the customer, letting them know that, hey, there's a new invoice. So we deliver that invoice to in a PDF format, and then we will also show them a notification that, hey, this invoice is ready. Customers can then make a payment, and once the payment is processed, it updates Business Central in the backend. Very, very similar concept to like how you pay your cell phone bills, how you pay your utility bills. Essentially, this same way you can enable this for your customers. If you're using Business Central, you can enable this for your customers so they can pay their bills online. I can pay one-off invoices, and it does bring PO numbers and everything. I can select multiple invoices to pay if I want to, or I can also make partial payments, and that's up to you if you want to allow partial payments. Like I can pay $100 on this invoice, I can pay like $50 on this one. So again, that's totally up to you if you want to allow short payments. If you don't have to. Likewise, it does have an option where you can also allow automatic payments, and you as an administrator, you can control what auto payment methods or what type of auto pay you want to offer. There are many variations you can create. I have two sample ones over here. One is monthly auto pay, which automatically pays outstanding balances on the first of the month. And the second one is a fixed amount for monthly donation to your favorite charity. So the difference, this one is, as you can see, this one pays balances off on the first of the month, and this one is you're going to do a fixed amount. So if I click over here, so when I click over here, all I have to do as a customer, just hit activate auto pay, and essentially I'm activating automatic payments. So according to this particular contract that's designed, this will automatically pay my balances. So every month, whatever the balance is, my past due balance, it's actually all outstanding balance, it will just pay that off. If I did this one, then it allows me to put a fixed amount. So I can say, hey, pay $100 every 20th of the month. I can do something like that. So now as a customer, I can pay you a fixed amount, and you can write whatever you want to write. In the description, I just randomly put monthly donation to your favorite charity, but you can put whatever you want to put over here. So auto payments are available for automatic reoccurring payments. You can also do prepayment. So prepayment is like a deposit. So you know how I processed a cash receipt earlier, where I processed a payment that was not tied to an invoice? That's basically what a prepayment is. So prepayment is a payment that is not associated to any invoice. It's like a deposit. So I can create a prepayment amount, and it will essentially end up in Business Central as an unapplied cash receipt. And then you, as a Business Central user, can apply it anywhere. A lot of our customers like to use this as a deposit towards orders and things like that. So, up to you how you want to use it. It also shows history. So on every one of this, so the page, the outstanding invoice page, history page, we have added these very sophisticated filtration system, which essentially allows you to create like filters for these. Obviously, like as you notice that each one of these columns are sortable columns anyway, so you can sort the columns, but you can also create filters. If I want to see all my invoices, my payments, my last 7 days, my last week's payment, last month's payment, I can put a specific date range, or I can even say amount, like all the payments that I made, like let's say any payment that was more than $1,000 in last year, like how did that look like? I can do things like that. So as a customer, I have tons of options on what type of filtrations I can use, so I can view this. And again, these are all the payment. It says payment, invoices, everything. So, and I can drill down and I can see what are the details. So this is the payment that I made on this date. So things like that. Then it does have a wallet as well. So as a customer, I can maintain my own wallet, which essentially means that I can I can decide what payment information I want on file with you. So in this case, I have one of my check accounts, like ACH, bank account information, and 2 credit cards on file with me. This is the exact same wallet that you saw in Business Central. So as a customer, when I enter here, it actually goes into Business Central. So if I go to if I go to customers in Business Central, and if I look at my trade research customer, the one that I use, then here, this is trade research account. Under Pay Fabric, I have a wallet option right here. So if I click this wallet option, it will show me what wallet does trade research have. So it has 1 eCheck and 2 visas. So this is what she has added, this customer has added here, or I could have added myself, but it's all reading from the Pay Fabric cloud. So if I, as a customer, enter a new wallet here or new credit card, it will automatically be updated over here. So it's all synchronized. So this way, if a customer wants to add a new payment method, like because they have a new credit card, then it will automatically update your accounting system too. So let's show you what a typical invoice looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and make a payment very quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and pay, let's say this invoice right here. So I'm paying this invoice. I can choose what credit card, or I can change my method. So I can see my wallet. I'm just like, hey, there's 2 credit cards, 1 checks, which one I want to use. So I just want to use this one for now. And I'm going to go ahead and process this payment. It will process this payment in real time, and it will tell me if this payment went through or not. So again, we talked about customer convenience, right? So as a customer, I was able to make a payment here, and essentially this payment was processed. I didn't have to wait for your business hours, for your to call you so I can make a payment over the phone. The payment essentially was made. I just went on my own convenient time to the portal, make a payment. Now, this payment has already been submitted to Business Central, and there's a email that was sent already. So this right here, again, is a confirmation that shows that this payment was sent over as a confirmation. So as a customer, I receive a confirmation. And another thing that we do is we also put a little friendly message over here that shows you that, hey, this payment was sent to this email address. So this way you know where it went. But obviously, you can always come back to your history and you can view any of these payment records that you want. But then what happened is also in Business Central, this payment will be synchronized over, and it happens in a very quick interval. So let's go and take a look at that. So if I go back to cash receipt journals, general journal. So this payment came in right away. See the 204 payment came in right away, and it's already been applied to the right invoice. So this was applied to invoice number 013. So it was applied to invoice number 013. So that's how it basically comes in, and it comes into Business Central. Now, let me show you this process one more time, but I'm going to show you from the invoice level. So I'm going to create an invoice, and I'm going to show you what that invoice looks like inside of Business Central. Also inside the customer portal. So I'm going to create this invoice, and let's call this item. I'm going to pick up this item right here, 433, and I'm going to put 2 quantities. So once I have this invoice ready, I can go ahead and I can post this invoice. So this is what you typically do, where you essentially create an invoice and you post it to the customer's record in Business Central. So this way, that actually it reflects to the customer's account. So invoice number 215 has been posted. Now, this invoice has already been sent. So what happens is we sent in an email to the customer. It takes the synchronizer works in a 30 to 60 seconds interval, but fairly quick. And that invoice will be delivered to me. And at the same time, that invoice will be available here. So as you can see, this invoice number 50015, is already here on the portal, 50015. So this already came in that I selected. Now, what I want to show you here is that this system, so this is the email that was sent to me as a customer. So as a customer, when this invoice was created, when you created the invoice in Business Central, this email was sent to me, and I can see that, hey, there's and again, it's a template. You can put your own logo and everything, so please ignore that. But I can see there's a PDF attached to it. I can technically even open this PDF to see the details of this invoice. It opened on my second screen. Let me show it to you. So this is what it basically PDFs the invoice and sends you a copy for your record, so you can see that. Secondly, so it turns into like an invoice distribution system, right? Secondly, there's a very important feature that we have here, and it's called Pay Now. So if as a customer, I can log into the portal and I can make a payment just the way I showed you, where I can view my account, I can make a payment. And I showed you how that payment integrates back to Business Central. Now, likewise, let's say if I want to make a quick payment, I can just click this Pay Now button. And what Pay Now does is Pay Now will open up this window where I can just enter my payment information to make a quick payment. So this way, for any customer who maybe don't want to log in, or maybe it's a one-off customer who doesn't want to really create a login name, or even if somebody who does have a portal login but just want to make a quick payment, they can come here, they can see their wallet and make a quick payment. So this payment method is a quick payment method where you can just make a payment without logging in. So oftentimes we have customers, we have users who would say that, hey, our customers are mostly one-off customers, so they may or may not want to have a full portal access. Then that doesn't matter. If they don't want to access the portal, they can still make a payment very quickly. So you can pay by one-time payment, like immediately, or you can log into the portal the way I showed you. So with that, so that was an intro on the PayFabric portion for Business Central. We would, obviously I showed you this in a high level, but you can connect with your representative, and they will be your representative at Innovia, and they would be more than happy to schedule a call with us so we can show you how this works in your environment. What I want to do right now is I'm actually going to talk about so I showed you how it works, and I'm going to talk about two things that we are adding, which is essentially going to be available very soon in the next couple of weeks in the next release that's coming out. The number one is that it's called Paylink. And what Paylink is that you can send, I did mention this briefly earlier, that you can, from orders or invoices, you can send a link to collect payments from someone. So this is a screenshot of that window that I showed you, where you can create an order, and then under PayFabric. So I showed you that we have an option for sale and authorization, but we are now going to add another option called Paylink. And when you click on Paylink, what Paylink will do is Paylink will open up this window here where you can enter customers' email address and even their cell phone number. Right now we have this particular screenshot is not showing that because it was disabled in this environment, but it actually has a cell phone information too. So if I want to collect payment from, in this case, David, instead of me asking him to read me the credit card over the phone, I can just send him a text message on his cell phone, or I can even email him a link. When David will receive an email, and this is a sample email screenshot, where he can click on it, it will take him to something like this, where this is an order. So in this order, like, and then if he pays by check or credit card, it will take him to a page where he can view his wallet, he can enter his payment information, and once David enter his payment information, it will show him a confirmation, and it will email him this confirmation receipt as well, just the way we talked about. But most importantly, it will bring this payment back to this order, and it will update this right here, the captured amount. So not only you are able to send a link to the customer to collect payment from them, but then it can update this back into Business Central as well. So it's sort of like an addition to our payment portal, but think of this as an on-demand payment. So you have a team of service reps who are creating orders. Rather than them taking credit card number over the phone, you essentially just send them a link. Now, another huge area, back to security, another big area that we address because of security is that you don't want to take credit card over the phone as much as possible, because not only employees can write on a piece of paper and forget about it, but also for a lot of companies where the phone calls are being monitored or recorded, like for your customer service calls for training purposes or whatever, that essentially is sort of like a, it's not okay with PCI compliance, because now you're recording someone's credit card number. So anyways, so you can send on-demand payment link directly from Business Central, order invoices. So that's one thing. The second thing that we have added is also a wallet link. So remember how I showed you, so difference between Paylink and a wallet link. Paylink is to collect payment. Wallet link is to just collect the payment information to be saved on file. So remember I showed you on the trade research account where you can have a wallet button where you can see the wallet. So now there's a new option, it's called wallet link. And what wallet link will do is it will essentially open up this window again. I can text message or I can email David a link. David will receive this email or a text message. He can enter his credit card number here, and then that credit card number will integrate back into Business Central, and it will be part of that wallet that I showed you earlier. So this way, if you want to collect payment information, not charge it just to collect the credit card to be stored on file or check to be stored on file, you can do that. And most important part I want to highlight is the integration back into Business Central. Seamlessly, immediately, all of that gets back updated into Business Central. So with that, just want to wrap up very quickly. What I essentially showed you is a self-service payment portal. This is not a new concept. This is something that we all use in our daily lives, something that has been part of our, we pay our utility bills, we pay our cell phone bills, just the way we expect that anyone that we do business with, whether it's our cable company, whether it's our cell phone or gas company, we expect that they're going to have an online portal so I can make my own payments. Our customers have similar expectations. They would want, if you do business with them, they would expect in this day and age that you will have a self-service portal where they can go on and make payments on their own. Self-service payment portals have been popular for many, many years. We all use it. I will be surprised if there's anyone listening to this conversation is not using any type of payment portal. They essentially improve in punctuality. You receive payments on time. It improves to loyalty, and it does add to, there's a study that was done that shows that your customers that pay their bills online, they tend to purchase more products from you. So as a wrap up, Nodus is a payment software expert since past 18 years. We've been in business since 2002, Microsoft Dynamics integration business, and we started off with GP, and now we expand to all Microsoft platform. We are a gold certified Microsoft partner, 100% PCI compliant application. We talked about security, PCI compliancy. We do offer payment flexibility. This supports both US and international payment gateways. Although we are a division of Evo Payments, we do offer payment processing service, which essentially can guarantee that it's going to be lower cost than most of our competitors out there in payment processing. But at the same time, we don't force our customers to migrate. There are a lot of benefits, but they have a flexibility to choose any processor of their choice that we support. But we do support all the major processors, across US and major gateways across the world. We also support level 2, level 3 qualification, which is something extremely important, especially in the B2B payment world. So with that, I want to thank you again for your time. I'm going to hand it over to Angie for any questions and answers.
Thank you, Fawaz. Yes, we do have a couple of questions that have come through. If anybody else has any additional questions that you would like to have Fawaz address, please go ahead and type those into the questions box, and I'll add those to our list. So the first one is, if I process a payment within Business Central, will the customer receive a notification that their card was processed?
Yes, good question. So that's essentially notification is the receipt that I was talking about. So we have it automated, but anytime a credit card is processed, potentially you can configure it. I mean, if you don't want to, you can turn that off, but the system automatically sends email confirmation, which is a notification to the customer, letting them know about the payment. That goes for payments that you process in a bulk or like automatic payments, as well as for any one-off payments that you process. So yes, we do support notifications automatically.
Okay, thank you. And does a customer have to register to use the portal?
Good question. So yes and no. So I did talk about in order to use the portal where they can log into their account, yes, they have to register. It's a very, very simple registration process. We have super automate that. It's pretty much one-click registration process. But in order to make a payment online, they don't need to register to the portal or use a portal. They can use that quick pay method. So for those of your customers who maybe are one-off customers or maybe who don't want to create a login or register for a portal, they can still make payment online using that quick one-time payment method that I showed you.
Okay, thank you. And the other one is, how many users can we have on the payment portal?
Oh, okay. Good question. You can have as many users as you want. The portal does have, so you can have as many customers as you want. There's no limitation. And the payment portal does have an administrative side as well, which I didn't get a chance to show you during our call today. But that is for your internal reps to log in so they can view customers' accounts and process payments on behalf of customers. And that's those are what we call a CSR login, customer service rep login. You can have as many users as you want.
All right, well, I think that's all the questions that we have for you, Fawaz. Thank you for presenting.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present. As I did mention that Angie and her team over at Innovia Consulting knows exactly how to get a hold of us. Feel free to reach out and we will be more than happy to assist. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on our webinar today, or if you're watching on demand, thank you. And we do have more webinars coming soon. Next Thursday, we have Gino Pack from Innovia Consulting, and he will be presenting on Never Miss a Report Again. Schedule them in Business Central. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's innovia.com/events. And we also have a podcast that is going on. If you have not heard of it already, it's called the Innovia Conversation. And we just want to encourage you to listen to our selection that Steve Waltz and Jeff Pogulski have provided to us. And you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page. And that's innovia.com/podcast. So check out the podcast selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. And Innovia Consulting is proud to be a premier sponsor of Community Summit, which is coming up October 6th to the 9th in Nashville, Tennessee. Summit is the annual gathering for all Microsoft Dynamics Nav and Business Central users and supporters. And this event is helping people to develop leadership skills, improve NAV BC skills, and learn how to get more from the investment our companies have made in the tool we use to run our businesses every day. So check out our conference page, and that's inovia.com/conferences for more details on Community Summit and to save on your summit registration. All right, well, we thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Fawaz, for presenting, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on another Inovia webinar. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.